It's John Pollock and Jimmy Korderas, and this is our WWE Backlash preview coming up Sunday from the Allstate Arena. It's a big weekend for the WWE in Chicago, or should we be specific and say Rosemont? But obviously, despite what JBL, he was a bit confused a few weeks ago because he was talking about the Allstate Arena and comparing it to the old Rosemont. It's actually the exact same venue, just with a different name. And
there's a little bit of renovations. And you know, anybody who's been to the old Rosemont Horizon, man, that was an old looking building. And the interior hasn't changed much as far as seating goes. I mean, like, they've updated the seating, of course, but the backstage area, they've added locker rooms, they've updated it. It's kind of
nice.
It's a lot more user-friendly to the people backstage, that's for sure.
Was that always the big arena for you? I mean, that is usually the arena that most performers isolate, of just having the best acoustics. The audience is typically very hot crowd in there. I mean, is that the top of the list, or what other ones come to mind?
Well, that one for sure, because you know, the crowd is, you're almost guaranteed. It's almost like you can't guarantee a lot in life, but you can guarantee a reaction in Chicago, and they are among the most educated fans and the most opinionated fans. But that's cool. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes they get a little bit rambunctious, but that's the nature of the beast, especially nowadays. Other buildings, Toronto, I would throw in there, but Toronto was very hit and miss. Do you know what I mean? Like, you'd come in for one shot and the crowd would be off the hook, and of course it becomes Bizarro World, as King would call it. And then all of a sudden you come back to the next show and it seems like more Corpus Christi, and you're going, what the hell just happened? It's like, did a bunch of pods come down and replace all the fans that actually cheered with, you know, like...
One of my favorite memories at the Allstate Arena was for WrestleMania in 2006, and I'm there with Wei Ting, and we're in our seats, and in front of us was a WWE employee. I mean, they had the badge, and they had clearly brought some friends. And the guy's talking about, you know, the people he travels with. He's talking about just the various guys. So then it's the main event. And Hunter comes out as He-Man or Thor or whatever his
Conan?
Conan is what I'm looking for there.
Yeah,
Close enough, He-Man. Anyway, so he comes out as Conan the Barbarian, and it was the first time Hunter did the really over-the-top WrestleMania entrance, and all these people are catcalling and mocking it, and this dude flipped out. He's just like, he's yelling at people, and he's upset, and just trying to, like, it's not that bad. And it was hilarious to just sit back and watch this guy's reaction to the fans' reaction to Hunter's entrance. But also, CM Punk's first cameo, I guess, to perform in that arena.
Yeah, I mean, like, he was on the sidecar of John Cena.
And then later,
how appropriate,
had a main event match with John Cena in the same building.
See how the circle of life works?
Amazing. So we look ahead to this Sunday. I don't know if we'll get a match at the quality of that Cena-Punk match from Money in the Bank, but maybe we will.
I think there's potential there with a couple of them.
My first question, because I think that there are different directions you can go. Jimmy Korderas is assembling this card. What is closing the show? I think you have three options.
There are. Do you close the show with, again, what could potentially be a match of the night / match of the month, whatever candidate? Or do you go with traditionally with the WWE Championship match, which is the one I would think to close the show with, only because I would hope that the WWE pulls the trigger with Jinder Mahal. And I know a lot of people think that might be a bad decision at this time and maybe too soon, but I think a shakeup is needed. It has nothing to do with Randy Orton's tweets lately. It's just, I think there's a potential there to really change the direction of WWE. I like that SmackDown seems to be a completely different presentation from Raw, for the most part. I mean, obviously the 2 hours helps, and having more of a tighter program helps, but I really like them to pull the trigger with Jinder Mahal.
Do you feel that, I mean, Chicago, it's typically, it's a pretty smart crowd that you get in Chicago. Do you feel that if this is a match that is not clicking, that Randy Orton's public statements of late, do you feel that this audience will turn on that match?
I think the audience is going to turn on Randy Orton right from the get-go. I think it's already in their mindset.
It's already had enough of an effect on that audience.
I think so. I think that audience, these are the ones.
I don't disagree.
This is the hardcore audience that is directly affected by the comments of Randy Orton. The indie marks or whatever his comments were that he said. They're the ones who take the most offense to this, and they also are the ones who look for opportunities like this to grasp and kind of, for lack of a better term, champ monkeys who like to get themselves over on television. This is perfect fodder for them.
Do you feel that Randy has kind of put himself into a corner here with that? I mean, you're coming off, a pretty dismal set of matches with Bray Wyatt. You're going in with a guy that is. Let's be honest. He is a guy that is certainly he needs to have the match of his career on Sunday, and that you've now added this barrier to everything as well. That you're going to have to really work with this audience. Where, you take that away, maybe that's at least something going for you that the audience would be more open-minded. I
think. Obviously, can't get in the head of Randy Orton. It's not my voices that he hears, so. His reasoning behind this recent interaction on Twitter, I don't know, but I think.
Well, let's remember part of the statement was just having some drinks here, so maybe.
That's the old go-to if your Twitter was hacked and whatever when you were drinking. But I think this is a little more calculated by him. I honestly do. I think he Conor McGregor'd everybody by just putting it out there to create controversy, to get people invested and. It goes back to the Roman Reigns thing. Yeah, you know what I mean? Everybody complains about Roman Reigns, but he gets the loudest reaction out there than anybody. And that's what it's about. And maybe Randy Orton figures maybe this is an opportunity for him to create a buzz, especially like you said, coming off two maybe subpar performances with Bray Wyatt and, obviously the House of Horrors match that got panned very, very much by pretty much everybody. There's a few people that may have, tried to glass half full it, but didn't work.
A tough one to defend. It's like being a.
So I think this
is like being Sean Spicer.
Oh, that's a tough job. I wouldn't want that.
It's a tough defense.
But I think this is more calculated by him to kind of generate some reaction and maybe get some people more invested in this program with Jinder Mahal.
See, I look at this and I feel it's going to be a really challenging match for these two to have. That I look at this as an opportunity, and I don't think it necessarily does happen, but I feel that they would be better served to be placed in the middle of the card, and you end strong with something that you can guarantee is going to be a big deal, and you place Nakamura and Ziggler on last. I think Nakamura is going to get the biggest reaction on this show, and he closing the show. I mean, this whole show has been built around making Nakamura special. He's different from everyone else on this roster and necessitates being in the main event. He's instantly branded as a top star on this show, and I think they're going to have a dynamite match on Sunday in front of that crowd in Chicago that's going to just help the match that much more. So that would be my placement of this. But there's also the argument, if you're doing the title change, you want to go off the air with the most impactful thing, and title change could be that. But I think they're going to really struggle to close this show. Yeah, well,
the expectations of my bar has been set. I'm usually tempered and go into these things like, oh, well, let's just see what happens. I don't want to
complicate, analyze,
overanalyze things. Yes,
I love to overanalyze. It's my thing.
But the Shinsuke Nakamura match and Dolph Ziggler, I'm expecting. I've set the bar high for this one, and it's almost like I'm almost afraid that I'm expecting too much from this, but then again, I look back and it's Shinsuke Nakamura against the best utility guy in the business who can go with anybody.
Yeah, I feel that this match, even in defeat, I think Dolph Ziggler can come out of this with a total refresh.
Yep.
I think he's someone that's been very stagnant, and it's not a question of ability. It's a character that's been run into the ground creatively, and he's suffered from it. That coming out and having a dynamite performance with Nakamura, I think just through I think people will understand that and see that, and Ziggler can come out of this with brand new life on SmackDown. I think this can be a win-win for both guys, and I expect it to be the high point of the show on Sunday.
It should be. It should be.
So we have differing views on what could end the show, and I guess looking at Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal, I guess the other question to this is, do you see any involvement with Rusev, who he missed his call-out of Shane McMahon on Tuesday due to a Nashville Predators game he cited?
Well, he's got season tickets, right?
I guess so. I guess he couldn't predict the playoff schedule, so therefore his call-out of Shane was maybe ill-tempered. Can you see Rusev getting involved in all this? Because whether you keep the title on Randy or you go with Jinder, I just don't see how Rusev works into this. Like, I just feel that that's an awkward move to go from one of these, unless you're just completely beating Jinder and moving on, which I think you've invested this time in the guy to just get one pay-per-view out of.
Right.
I don't get the sense that they're going to give up on this guy.
No, I don't think so either. And you talk about it from a business standpoint, and obviously India being the third largest market for the WWE, but at the same time, they're their third largest market without a superstar of that heritage, which is the old way of, they had the Great Khali back in the day, which when he went back to India, they treated him like he was a god. It was incredible. Now picture moving Jinder Mahal into that spot as WWE champion, a guy who can actually is a lot more athletic, has a more broader appeal look. Especially with the two Singh brothers, and all of them, speak the language and could do that. From a business standpoint, I could see that, and if it actually takes off there, who knows? Maybe India could become their second biggest market ahead of the UK. I mean, the population is definitely there.
What happens if next week Rusev comes out to announce he's been granted a title match by Shane McMahon, and then Daniel Bryan returns the following week to announce that there is compromising information involving Shane giving Rusev this title match, and it leads to a big congressional hearing involving Shane McMahon and if he has been compromised by the Russian. Does Rusev have something on Shane McMahon that is...
Well, we have to first figure out if the memo, if there really is a memo, if any of the conversations were taped. Because if there are any taped conversations, that could be very incriminating for Shane McMahon.
Dasha took all of the memos when she was preparing for an interview with Shane McMahon. Maybe Renee Young has all of the memos.
You never know.
Then Renee is fired out of nowhere and has no justification for this firing. And Renee has all the memos.
Ooh, this is getting good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm liking this.
They could hire hacker Scotty O'Shea to come in.
There you go.
Get all the documents out there. The contact between Russian Rusev and Shane McMahon.
And then they could bring in Kingdom James as the new press secretary.
We'll get everyone in Toronto hired.
Exactly.
And then Shane McMahon is facing possible impeachment.
Oh, I like this. I like where this is going. This
could be fantastic.
Give him the pencil.
Let us chat about Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. This is a match that, after this week's SmackDown, it certainly feels as though this is the number 3 match of the 3 major matches that are being promoted. This was one that, I guess I include this as like a wild card that could go on last, but I'm not sensing it does.
No, this I don't think this may be the one that opens the show, or this or the tag match, but. This is, again, another match with two guys who have the potential to steal the show. And, to me right now, with all due respect to others out there in different promotions, I still think that AJ Styles is the best wrestler on the planet because he's been able to adapt to every territory he's been to, and he's, adapted to the WWE style while still not losing what brought him prominence with the audience at the same time, So I think him and Kevin Owens could potentially steal the show. I don't want to call it a sleeper match because I'm expecting big things from these guys as well, and I think a lot of people are. I don't think we'll get a title change so soon because they've invested all this time now in making Kevin Owens the new face of America. So I think this may be a little bit of a longer program than expected. And
I almost feel like on Sunday we're not going to get the the big match between these two, that 25-minute classic between these two, because I can see this feud continuing beyond Sunday. And this is also a show that it's not structured around this match.
Right.
If you're booking this whole show as a show, you want it to peak for the main event. You want, to be honest, Nakamura Ziggler to be that show-stealing match that Owens and Styles going out there first or second and blowing the doors off for 25 minutes. I don't know if that might be a fantastic match, but does it help the whole show? That I can see this one being, this is more just prolonging the feud to get to a rematch when they will have that big match. That
actually makes a lot of sense, and it's kind of like anything else. You don't want to shoot off all your big guns right out of the gate. You want to take your time, progress, tell a story, and it's kind of like a match. There's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end, and the end of the match or the end of the program or the end of the feud, the rivalry is where you're supposed to get your biggest reaction. And just like a match, the finish is supposed to get the biggest reaction.
The Usos will be taking on Tyler Breeze and Fandango. They've certainly given Tyler Breeze and Fandango a lot more character development over this past month. I think it's been I think at varying levels of success, but it's clearly a trust they've had in them to give them this amount of time to get their personalities across, which I think people do see these two possessing. And the Usos, to me, have been one of the high points of SmackDown over the month. I think their promos are great. I've really enjoyed them ever since they did do the turn. And I think this will be a sleeper match on the show. I think I think they'll have enough time, 10, 12 minutes, to have a good match. And I mean, for Tyler Breeze, this is the biggest opportunity he's had since being called up.
No, absolutely. I like Tyler Breeze. He's very talented. Again, it's about presentation. And in the WWE, when you have a character like a Tyler Breeze and Fandango, they love this character development stuff. And maybe sometimes to a certain degree put a priority of that over in-ring ability. They're able to put it all together, too. As far as the Usos go, really love the Usos. I mean, they're fantastic. It looks like, in this case, I know a lot of people complain that there is no creative freedom is restricted in the WWE, where you don't get the opportunities to kind of like. To me, it looks like the Usos have had this opportunity to say, hey, listen, this is what we want to do. This is where we'd like our characters to go. Can we give it a try? And I think they've given them the opportunity to at least have a little bit of freedom to
feels organic. Like you watch their promos, there's no way you're thinking that this is just line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4.
Exactly.
I mean, it feels they play off one another so naturally, and it feels natural, which is something that other people struggle with, and you can sense the difference when it's done.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think giving guys a little bit of a chance to succeed or fail will help them, as opposed to giving them a structured like, here's your promo.
Yeah,
thing. That's been a long story we've been talking about for a long time, but yeah.
6-woman tag: Naomi, Charlotte, and Becky. What are we calling them? Royal Fire and Glow against the Welcoming Committee: Natalya, Tamina, and Carmella. Carmella has now pinned Naomi twice, but they really didn't hit you over the head with that on SmackDown. It was more so Naomi pushing that on Talking Smack after. But kind of the background story is Charlotte and going for the title after this this tag match. But where do you see? Because there's different directions you can take this match in.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of feel bad for the women, because it feels like one of those matches where, okay, we're going to lump all the women together to get them on the pay-per-view, blah, blah, blah. But
they gave him a contract signing.
Oh, man. James Ellsworth, no offense, but why? But anyways, I think this is probably, I think this is kind of like the swerve coming from Charlotte, where, she appears to be siding with
She's Ric Flair and Becky is Sting.
Yes, and I think there will be I don't think she'll be joining the Welcoming Committee, but I think she will turn on her partners.
On Sunday.
On Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'm sure it'll be a fine match, but I think it's more the direction coming out of it that people are looking towards with this one.
I just hope in this situation, because there are 6 women in this match, 6 women and an Ellsworth, that they're given at least some time to slow down and tell their story, because if they don't get a lot of time, everything's going to feel rushed, and And when you rush things, that's when stuff does not go good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing about these brand-specific pay-per-views is you do have more time than when you're just cramming everything together and you get WrestleMania, for instance, where everything is thrown on there.
Yeah.
Then we go to Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn, which was made on Tuesday. Is this a pretty open and shut Baron Corbin victory?
You know, I wouldn't say open and shut. I mean, you can make a case for Sami Zayn because obviously, in a lot of people's eyes, Sami Zayn needs a big win. But I like the fact that they're building Sami Zayn up as this, as a guy who tries hard, always comes up short. I mean, maybe building towards that when he finally gets that big win over a guy. Maybe, I don't know if it's Baron Corbin, but gets that big win. I think they're trying to make him the ultimate underdog. It's almost like trying to recreate the Daniel Bryan thing, the ultimate underdog kind of thing. And I wouldn't say open and shut, but I think this Baron Corbin, I see a lot of upside in him. I mean, he's got a look that they like. I shouldn't criticize anybody's hair. But
you used to have the full Baron Corbin, didn't you?
No, I had the full mullet club thing going on, but that's a T-shirt waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
You might infringe some copyright out there, though.
Yeah, I know. But
I could see the idea of Sami Zayn actually winning this match because I do feel Baron Corbin could win Money in the Bank next month, and that he gets that, and that gives you at least a holdover program for Corbin afterwards with Sami Zayn, the guy that beat him the prior month. Because as you look at the guys on SmackDown, I mean, typically you want that to go to someone who's not quite at that level yet, and that's why I wouldn't go with a Kevin Owens, for instance, because he doesn't need it.
No.
Baron Corbin is someone that you're looking at months, year down the road that will be your guy, and could end up winning that match next month.
Yeah, and plus he's still new enough where they could rib him by having him carry that briefcase everywhere.
Yeah, so there's your open and shut case. Then we go Erick Rowan and Lucas. Yeah. Luke Harper. This was set up on Talking Smack as we're trying to add some depth to Erick Rowan, that he's been abandoned in the past and now he's lost his family. So he wants to murder Luke Harper. Lucas.
You know what? I kind of feel sorry for Luke Harper. I mean, like, to me, he's one of the best big men in the business right now. When you talk about underutilized talents in the WWE, he comes to mind. He's first and foremost, in my opinion. There's a boat there that's being missed with Luke Harper, I think. Erick Rowan, with all due respect to him, I just don't like this direction his character is going in. That Talking Smack segment, which I watched...
You're taking all the air out of his balloon, Jimmy.
Well, I don't need to because he does it to himself.
It got a pop.
There you go. See? How do you come back to that? There's no comeback.
Last thing, I mean, we don't have to spend too much time. The kickoff will feature Ty Dillinger taking on... Fill in the blank.
Oh.
Suzanne, who's Ty Dillinger facing on the kickoff show? No one knows.
Oh, wait a minute. No. It's coming to me. No, it's not coming to me.
We're just gonna blank on this. No, we're gonna figure this out.
We're gonna figure this out.
Let's find out here. Ty Dillinger.
Let's go to the Google machine.
It's gonna come to me any moment now. It's Ty Dillinger.
I know. Oh, this is gonna kill me.
What I want to take this as long as possible because I want people to be yelling at their audio device.
How do they not know?
These idiots.
How do
they don't know anything. Aiden English.
Aiden English. Oh yeah, that's right. How could we forget?
There. Everyone's crying as we search for the name. Yeah. So that'll happen. Ty will win, and Aiden will cry, I guess.
You know, I'm a big fan of Ty Dillinger. I think he's a tremendous talent. He's one of those guys that are so good that people who watch him from in the industry look at him and can't believe how good he really is. My only concern is that, much like the yes chant, that the 10 chant will get over more than he will, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it'll overshadow his ability because he's really good. It's just I'm just worried that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I would say at this juncture of his main roster run, I mean, it's better than silence, so that's going for him. I hate that chant when the count is going on.
Right.
That every fan has to do now when there's a count out spot, because I know it's going to screw up a match at some point.
Well, it's been added to the Chant Monkey Guide now, the 10 chant, along with
Fight forever.
Fight forever. Both these guys. The worst one, we are awesome. No, you're not. Fill in the blanks. I mean, it's just, it's crazy.
Big Jimmy chant that, erupts at every Smash show. I hear it firsthand. Every time I go to a Smash show, Jimmy, you're amongst the biggest reactions.
Yeah, well, it's...
Royalty.
Well, I wouldn't quite say royalty. Maybe just...
You got to brand yourself.
Nobility?
Jimmy.
Noble? No,
that works as well, too.
Okay.
Well, that is our look ahead to Backlash. Quick thought, what jumps out at you on TakeOver? I think that's going to be a great show the night prior.
Oh, man. I'm curious to see Hideo Itami versus Bobby Roode. I want to see those two styles and see how they mesh together. And
I'm interested in the match. The build's been pretty cold to me.
Yeah.
But I think it's one that's going in and... I think will ultimately be a really solid match. I think Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne's going to be phenomenal.
Oh, yes.
Like you talked the biggest reactions over the weekend, Jim Ross coming out in Chicago might be one of them.
Oh, absolutely. Again, I talk about strategic debuting. This is also strategically putting the NXT brand in a venue that will garner a reaction, kind of much like Brooklyn. You know, so it's smart.
Ladder match should be good with the Authors against DIY.
Yeah.
Then you got the three-way women's title match. So
I'm a big fan of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I think those guys are ready. I think they're ready.
I enjoy the Authors of Pain. I think they're significantly improving, and I think that they're a year from now, we're going to be looking at them as a significant tag team together. I think they constantly improve, and they put these guys very smart. They put them with people where they're going to get the most out of them, and they're developing. I mean, these guys are really new to the industry.
Yeah, very, very pleasantly surprised with their progress is, which tells me they are good listeners.
And you've got Paul Ellering in Chicago.
Oh my goodness!
The Easter egg there. If you tune into TakeOver, I mean, he's going to get a hero. He's going to get a Jimmy Korderas in downtown Toronto kind of reaction.
Yeah, it's only because I used to go to the Phoenix way back when, Stevie B and never mind.
Well, that is going to wrap it up, folks. If you are in the Windy City this coming weekend, enjoy the shows. We've got TakeOver and Backlash. Keep it locked to liveaudiowrestling.com because Saturday night, immediately after TakeOver, we will have a post show up on the site with Jason Agnew, Braden Harrington, and our man Bartender Dave. And then Sunday night after Backlash, tune into The Law, TSN 1050 Toronto, 1410 if you're in Vancouver, and you can, of course, listen online. For Jimmy Korderas, I am John Pollock, and enjoy all of the shows going down this weekend.